All right, so today we're going deep on something kind of different.
Okay.
We're looking at academic comics
Mm-hmm.
and how they could maybe help people understand really complicated stuff, like robotics.
Yeah.
Like, did you ever think you'd learn about robot surgery or like deep sea exploration by reading a comic book?
Well, it's definitely an interesting idea, right?
Yeah,
And the stuff we're looking at today actually suggests doing exactly that,
right.
making a whole comic about the different ways we can use robots.
Hmm. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty wild. I gotta admit, like at first I was like, comics? Really?
Yeah.
But no, the more I think about it, the more it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So, uh, maybe we should start with like the basics.
Sure.
What exactly are academic comics?
Well, they're like
Like, what makes them different from regular comics?
yeah, they're like graphic novels, but with like a research focus.
Okay.
They use pictures and stories to explain research in a way that's easier to understand.
Huh?
there's there's actually already some really cool examples out there, like
Oh, yeah. Have you heard of the Manga Guide to Statistics?
I don't think so.
It uses a Hanga story to teach you about statistics.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So instead of like trying to read some boring research paper, you get to learn by looking at pictures and reading a story.
Exactly.
Hmm. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But why robotics? Why not something like I don't know, astrophysics or ancient history?
Well, I think robotics is just a really good fit for visual explanations.
Really? How so?
It's a very visual field. There's a lot of action.
Okay.
Like, think about a robotic arm that's used during surgery.
Yeah.
It's making all these precise movements and interacting with a person's body in a very delicate way.
Right.
Imagine seeing that in a comic,
Okay.
like step by step with explanations of all the technology involved.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that make it much easier to understand?
Yeah, I think I see what you mean.
Yeah.
But what kind of robotic solutions are we even talking about here? Like, what could we show in a comic? Well, the source material mentions a few key areas like healthcare, manufacturing, and exploration.
Okay.
But we can go even deeper than that.
Right.
Like in healthcare, for example, we're not just talking about robots assisting surgeons.
Right.
There's also things like robotic assisted rehabilitation and telepresence robots,
Oh,
which allow doctors to examine patients remotely.
that's interesting.
There's even robotic exoskeletons that can help people who have trouble moving around regain their independence.
Wow, now that's what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah.
not just cool robots. It's robots that are actually helping people.
Exactly. And it's the same in other fields too.
Oh, yeah.
Like in manufacturing, robots aren't just replacing human workers,
Right.
they're doing dangerous and repetitive jobs that humans don't want to do,
Okay.
which makes things more efficient and
Yeah.
lets humans focus on the more complex and creative parts of the job.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So going back to comics,
Mhm.
how can they actually show these complicated concepts and all the different ways we can use robots?
Well, that's where the power of visuals comes in.
Okay.
Imagine a comic about a robot exploring the Mariana Trench.
The deepest part of the ocean.
Yes. You could see all the intense pressure that's pushing down on it,
Oh, well.
the way it moves around, the difficult terrain, and even the creatures it encounters.
That would be amazing.
And all while learning about how the robot systems actually work.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if we're simplifying these complicated topics for a comic, wouldn't we lose some accuracy?
That's a good point.
Like, how do we make sure we're not oversimplifying things too much?
It's definitely a balancing act.
Yeah.
We have to find a good balance between keeping things simple, but also making sure the information is accurate.
So how do we do that?
I think the key is to be really careful about what you choose to focus on.
Okay.
We should stick to the core concepts and try to use visuals to explain as much as possible without sacrificing depth.
So it's like strategic storytelling almost.
Exactly.
Choosing the right story and the right visuals to make it as educational as possible.
Right.
Interesting.
And it's not just about explaining how the technology works.
What else is there?
We can also explore the ethical and societal implications of robotics.
Okay.
Like a good comic could talk about how automation might affect jobs or the ethics of using robots in warfare.
Those are definitely some big questions.
Yeah.
That's a good point, though. This isn't just about teaching people about robotics.
Right.
It's also about getting them to think critically about the role of robots in our lives
Exactly.
and our future.
Yeah. And that's where storytelling can really make a difference.
How so?
By connecting with people on an emotional level, we can encourage them to really think about how robots are changing our world.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So to sum it all up, the idea of using academic comics to explore robotics isn't just some crazy idea.
No.
It's a real and potentially powerful way to teach people about a topic that's becoming more and more important in our lives.
And it's not just about how things work. It's about how robots are affecting society,
Yeah.
the ethical challenges they bring, and all the amazing possibilities they offer for the future.
Exactly. And as you go about your day, think about this.
Okay.
What complex topic that you find challenging could be explained better through a comic?
Hmm.
Could it be climate change, artificial intelligence, or even something like philosophy?
It's something to think about.
The possibilities are endless, and it's definitely something worth exploring.
I agree.
All right, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Okay.
See you next time.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.